The office floor was silent except for the sharp, humiliating sound of papers scattering across the polished tiles as Ava stood frozen, her cheeks burning bright red while her boss, Mr. Collins, glared at her with stormy eyes. "You're done here," he snapped, loud enough for every coworker to hear. The room went still. A few people peeked over their monitors. Others pretended to work, though their eyes flickered with uncomfortable curiosity. Ava's trembling hands tried to gather the documents she had dropped, but Mr. Collins kicked one aside with a crisp shoe and hissed, "Pack your things and leave, now." Her cracked voice didn't even rise to defend herself. She simply nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. Ava Harper had grown up with the kind of parents who taught her to be gentle and determined. Her mom, a social worker, her dad, unknown to the world, was one of the most powerful CEOs in the country. But he'd raised her without privilege. No special treatment. No shortcuts. He wanted her to earn everything. So when Ava signed up for an internship at Harper Industries, she did so with a false last name, determined to learn from the bottom. She woke early every morning, packed her own lunch, and stayed late to finish tasks others forgot. She had dreams, big ones, of designing programs to make workplaces more humane, kinder, fairer. But the world she walked into was nothing like that. The office environment at Harper Industries buzzed with tension. Deadlines, keyboards clicking nonstop, hurried footsteps echoing through glass hallways. People rushed past each other without really seeing one another. Ava noticed everything: the exhausted receptionist, the disgruntled analysts, the mid-level managers who whispered complaints over cold coffee. And above them all, the one they feared most, Mr. Collins, the department head. He was loud, sharp, known for cutting down interns with words sharper than scissors. He liked control. He liked obedience. He liked being right. Ava was quiet, gentle, and hardworking. To him, that made her an easy target. It started with small criticisms. "Your report formatting is sloppy. You walk too slow." "Speak up, God, do I have to repeat myself?" She apologized every time in a soft voice, not wanting conflict. Then came the breaking point. She accidentally printed 30 pages of the wrong version of a contract and placed it in the meeting folder. Collins noticed it in front of the entire boardroom staff. His face turned crimson. "You're an embarrassment," he growled. Cameras weren't rolling, but the silence that followed felt like being filmed. Ava stood there feeling her heart crumble, her throat tightening. "Get out," he spat. She turned away, trembling, clutching her binder to her chest. And just as she reached for her bag, a sudden echo of footsteps filled the hallway, slow, powerful, deliberate. The glass doors slid open with a smooth whoosh. The entire floor turned their heads. A tall man in an expensive suit stepped inside, eyes cold, expression like a storm about to break. Richard Harper, CEO, Ava's father. Collins straightened instantly, his entire demeanor flipping from ruthless to nervous. "Sir, Mr. Harper, I didn't know you'd be visiting today." Richard didn't look at him. His gaze went straight to Ava, softening instantly. "You okay, sweetheart?" The room froze. Collins blinked, confused. "Sweetheart." Richard's jaw tightened. "Ava Harper. My daughter. The intern you just fired in front of the whole office." Gasps spread like electricity. Someone dropped a pen. Collins went pale. I didn't know. She never said she didn't need to." Richard cut him off. "Her work ethic says everything. Her kindness says everything. Her potential says everything. What does your behavior say?" The question hung in the air like a blade. Richard stepped closer, towering over Collins. "You fired her without cause. You humiliated her. You led by fear. That ends today." Collins stuttered. "Sir, I can fix." "No," Richard said calmly. "You're relieved of your position effective immediately." The office erupted not in noise, but in shock. Silent, wide-eyed shock. Richard turned to his daughter then, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Come with me. You deserve better than this." Ava's eyes filled with tears, not of pain now, but of relief. Employees stepped aside as they walked through the office, like a path being cleared. Some smiled at her, some gave apologetic glances, some whispered in awe. In the days that followed, Harper Industries changed drastically. Workshops were held. Toxic leaders were removed. A new culture of kindness emerged, and Ava? She returned not as an intern, but as part of a team dedicated to making the company humane again. She had a voice and people listened. One afternoon, as she walked past the windowed conference rooms, a young intern dropped his stack of papers. Ava knelt beside him and said, "Don't worry. Everyone makes mistakes. You're doing great." The boy smiled, because she understood. She'd felt the sting of humiliation. She'd felt the cruelty of careless power. And she refused to pass it on. In the end, the same office that once watched her fall now admired her rise. Because kindness, quiet, steady kindness always outshines the noise.